Good morning. This morning we are going to talk about if I could talk this morning, competitive advantages and how we can set ourselves apart from the 10,000 other people who are already trying to do what it is that we're trying to do and accomplish. Cheers. Enjoy the episode.
Financially free and enjoy more of what the world has to offer. This action one, because this is where most human beings screw the pooch.
So a little one-person trampoline. Very.
I screen shared it. Like, there's no excuse. Like, phone numbers are just out there. You just got to pick up the phone, smile, and dial. So.
Good morning, and welcome back to another episode of the Talk Tanner Morning Show, where we go over tips, tricks, ideas, and exercise to help make you the absolute best entrepreneur you can be, not only for yourself, but for the people you love and care about most. And this episode is going to be really fun this morning because it's something that I've been really trying to work on for a long time. And I think I'm starting to come up with some really good answers and stuff that is setting us truly apart from the 10,000 other coaches, the 10,000 other real estate investors, the 10,000 other business professionals who are trying to generate content, generate leads, and to blow up a big business so they can make the money to live the lifestyle that they dream of. So how can we set ourselves up apart? I have 4 steps this morning. I'm going to go ahead. I got to chop this up real quick. I hope everyone, good morning. Thanks for tuning into the show this morning. And sorry, I'm a little bit late. I was actually chatting back and forth with someone who went to the same college as me. He owns a massive marketing company out of Chicago. And he was talking about all these things I didn't think of and just kind of like the blatant truths of what we need to do in marketing and the blatant truths of reaching out to lots of people. And so I got lost on time, to say the least, but totally worth it. Trying to learn from exceptional people like that. I don't have permission for yet to say his name, or like maybe someday I can bring him on the show. That would absolutely be amazing. Sorry, I'm tripping up on my words a little bit this morning. Regardless, we're going to be talking about competitive advantages, and then we're going to be going over these 4 steps on how to create a competitive advantage for yourself. You might even be thinking, Tanner, I don't even give a crap about competitive advantages. Well, either way, it's good to embody these steps to just become a better person, to become a fuller you, to understand yourself at a really deep level. And that's what we're going to lead with and kind of get to in number 1. But before then, let's go ahead and do some chatting and talking about competitive advantage. So advantage. In the business world, they're always looking for an advantage to set themselves apart. And this is episode 337. Oh my gosh, we're raking through them. So this morning we're going to be talking about a competitive advantage, simplifying an advantage. And the first advantage that we want to talk about this morning is understand yourself at a high level. Number 1, understand yourself. Hopefully you can read that. That is yourself. So emphasis on yourself. And what is the competitive advantage underneath this? So this would be, I have here into my notes, got to make sure I have the right talking points. So this would be stories, experiences, and problems. Okay, perfect. So under this first point, when we understand ourselves and we want to be able to market ourselves, I believe yesterday I was sharing some very personal experiences, trying to get a little more vulnerable so people can understand me, build trust with me, get into my life, and see that we're not different, that you have a lot of problems going on. I have a lot of problems going on. And this is what people exactly sign up and pay money for, is the relatability, their ability to feel understood. I remember going to a sales seminar and they were talking a lot about, you got to make sure that the people you're working with, they feel understood. They feel loved. They feel like they have a say in how this is going, and you appreciate them at a very high level. And I think this is a lot easier when we can leverage our personal problems. What are your personal problems? What problems do you struggle with? These are the ones that you can sell with conviction. If there's a problem that you are selling and you haven't experienced the problem yourself, there's going to be a gap in your ability to convey with conviction what it is going on and how you can truly help them. Within my course, the one-page life plan course, where we really help people pay attention to what matters, every single question and exercise I've personally analyzed, answered multiple dozens of times with over 100 people, and really seen that it cemented and made a real difference. So I can say with conviction that that course is badass and it can really help and change people, because all of the problems that are in it were personal problems that I solved. And the next on it would be for creating your competitive advantage, understanding your self category. You have your problems, and then you just have experiences in general. We just have experiences. From the day we were born until the day we are here right now, living and breathing, we have been culminating and cultivating experiences over time to create our viewpoints, understand ourselves at a high level. And we should leverage these personal experiences, because two personal experiences are the same. Each are unique. And so you can leverage this as your competitive advantage. So we have on to our last point. So first we want to leverage the problems that we have. Next, we want to, sorry folks, getting my stuff to load real quick. Good morning, everyone. So we have here, what is the last one? Personal stories. Yes, of course. Sorry, chopping up through some notes. The last one we want to leverage is stories. Stories are so powerful. They can last thousands of years. Everyone remembers a story. I was just watching this TED Talk. It was one of these guys who works at Pixar, and then he did like Wall-E and all of these other Disney movies. And he talked so much about how much of an impact it made when someone was able to convey a story, able to pull you in, be able to relate the problems and their experiences in the form of stories. And these stories, especially when the stories are unique to you. So I've talked about some stuff with my family. I've talked about me traveling. I've talked about creating a real estate portfolio. I've talked about being in relationships, talking about creating the stories that have become all of this together. The problems and experiences allow me to create stories that are unique to me, that not another person can have, because they are unique to me. So if you want to create your competitive advantage, we understand ourselves at a very high level, journal about these things, reach out to me if you want to talk more about them and learn how to elaborate them and leverage them in your marketing and leverage them just when you're communicating with people in general. And so that's for number one. Number one, if you want to have a competitive advantage, we need to understand ourselves at a very high level. Okay, number two would be eliminating distractions. Eliminate distractions. What do you need to say no to in order to say yes to the things that make sense with your life? It's crazy how distracted I get. So I was actually talking with my girlfriend yesterday. Shout out to her. We're talking about, I was just feeling really overwhelmed because I had some issues over at one of our rental properties, and I'm doing this new software to help create this course. And I was just felt like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. My mind's getting pulled in a million different directions. and just talking about it was very, very helpful. But just the distractions, there's a good chance that you may need to say no. Maybe you need to say no to extracurricular, or maybe you need to say no to seeing your friends for a couple weekends. Maybe you need to say no. I'm not saying you need to say no to these things forever, but if you're really trying to gain clarity and figure out what is most important to you, you might need to say no and eliminate some distractions. Eliminate distractions. So we need to eliminate distractions. The biggest distraction that I have is usually my cell phone. It's really hard for me to write coaching exercises, to be working with clients, and to be paying attention to the other things we have going on in business when my cell phone is right here in front of me and it's easily I pull it up. I'm like, crap, I need to get back to work. So whatever your distractions are, maybe it is something on the side that you're thinking about. Maybe it's your work or whatever it needs to be. Really think, what do I need to say no to? So we're going to emphasize this word no. Those exclamation points. You might really need to emphasize this word no for a while and say no to a bunch of things and really be able to answer that question of, what do you really want to do? What do you really want your life to look like? What do you want to do day to day? If you haven't answered those questions yet, then we want to answer those first, and then we can really create a structure that we're allowed to say no. I have additional exercises on this. If you need any help with this, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can send me a direct message, or you can comment something that you're trying to do. So that leads us right into point number 3, focus. What's the opposite of being distracted? I would say it is some type of focus, and focusing on one thing at a time. One thing at a time. When you look at who is the most frustrated, when you look at who is having a really hard time with things in general, getting things done, staying on top of it, it's usually people who do not focus on one thing at a time. I need a new piece of chalk. One thing at a time. One thing at a time is what we're trying to do this morning, trying to create focus on one thing at a time. Yesterday, when I was feeling a lot of frustration, it was probably because I was thinking of multiple things, getting overwhelmed. This is what usually creeps on, causes a lot of anxiety, and this is why we need to do breathing exercises. We need to do meditation. We need things to calm the mind and then also set ourselves up for success, right? Of course, a young man who's trying to do a bunch of different things and be Superman all the time, still lift the weights, get really jacked, to try and go out there and hustle and make some investments, grow and make more money, trying to build up a business, strengthen my relationship, continue to hang out and connect with my family. I'm feeling overwhelmed sometimes, and I'm sure you can relate in your own ways. Like, yeah, I feel pretty overwhelmed when I'm bouncing from this. I'm going back to school. I got this new job. I got this baby on the way. I have all this shit going on in my life. Totally reasonable to when we feel overwhelmed. So how can we combat this? How can we combat this anxiety and this stuff that creeps up inside of us? It's, I think, focus and just taking one thing at a time. Because when you're thinking of two different things, you're probably not in the present moment. And the present moment is where peace is possible. In the rest, in your future, it's just worrying and this and worrying about that and worrying about that. In the past, it's like, oh, I'm such an idiot. I regret this. I didn't handle this right. But here, right now, focus, one thing at a time, peace is possible. Okay, remember that? So focus on one thing at a time. This is advice I'm working on myself, folks. It's really tough to do. You're never going to run a marathon in 0 minutes and 0 seconds, but we can reduce our suffering greatly just by acknowledging these things and doing them. So, and the last one we have is remember you have what you already need. You already have what you need, folks. Good morning to everyone who's just tuning into the show. We have what we need. Remember. You're like, Tanner, I don't have what I need. I don't have the Bugatti. I don't have this. I don't have that. Focusing on the gap of our lives, of things that we don't have, very, very dangerous, going to cause a lot of suffering. But if we can remember what it is that we do have, the things that we're grateful for. So number one is health. So we have our health. So remember, you already have what you need. You have your health. So if you can build this out, self-love. So these are the ultimate things that we really want. This is what I believe that we truly want at the highest level of fulfillment is we want our health and we want our self-love. If you look at all the people, okay, that's all I need on the chalkboard this morning. So if you look at all the people who, okay, so as a young man, I would like to make a lot of money. I would like to invest a lot of money. I'd like to set up, when I have a child in the future, set them up. They can go to any school they want to. They can travel as much as they want to. Also, while me and my girlfriend, us being able to do that and also supporting our family. There's things that I want to do and help pay for at a very high level. Things I want to experience what the world has to offer, right? Nothing wrong with that. And when you look at people, if you look at money, and then you look at the people who actually have money, a lot of them are really old, like old, 60s, 70s, 80, because wealth takes a lot of time. Yes, there are some really smart people who make a lot of money at a young age and then do really well for themselves. Like this one dude I was just telling you I was talking about before. He seems to be doing pretty friggin' well at a pretty young age in his 30s. But if you were 60s and you were in your 70s, what is one thing when you talk to all these people, what do they want? What would they trade all of their money for? Youth, health. And something I don't want to neglect is my health and my youth while I'm on this pursuit. If I'm focused so much on, oh, I don't have this. Oh, I want this. Oh, I need this. Oh, this, I got to go there. Oh, I got to do this. Oh, I have to balance this. I'm worried about this. I'm worried about that. If that's where my mental state is, the clock's still ticking. The clock is still ticking and I'm getting older and I'm missing out on something magnificently beautiful in my health, in my youth, and my ability to love myself and acknowledge that I have what I need. And everything's just a process. You're going to get to, seen it time and time again. My mentor is telling me out of Chicago, he used to sell really big pieces of real estate. And he'd say, man, even after I've made my money, I just was focusing on the next thing too much. And then the next one and the bigger deal. And the bigger deal. And he's like, I feel like I missed out on a lot of my life and I don't want you to do the same. It's like, damn. Yeah. I don't want to miss out on my life either. So maybe that's the challenge this morning, asking yourself, what are you possibly missing out on by not being centered and not remembering that you already have so many great things in your life. And it would be a real shame to void those, to discredit those because we don't have some other type of goal. We want goals and we want to work towards them, but youth and life in the present moment is all we'll ever truly have. So learning to enjoy that more often seems like the ultimate goal. And I think this can create a competitive advantage. I think being able to do this, being able to be in the present moment, being able to focus on one thing at a time, being able to eliminate those distractions to do just that, it allows us to understand ourselves at a high level. This was how to create a competitive advantage. And just for video editing purposes, you remember in the first section, we were talking about problems, experiences, and stories. And in the second one, we're talking about just things that we can say no to. Additionally, just try not to get pulled in so many just directions. I know it's going to happen regardless. I know it's happening to me pretty bad right now. But if there's more things that we can say no to, just remember you're that much more likely to get it done. And of course, don't forget that the present moment's all we got. And it's really a beautiful thing. When we focus, we feel. And what we focus on is what we feel. So if we can do this more often, I think we can be happier and healthier. And I think that really shines through to create this competitive advantage, to set ourselves apart and become the best version of ourselves. This was episode 337. By gosh, we're rocking and rolling. That's all I have for today. My name is Tanner Dewitt. I have 3 offerings for you. Please come back to the morning show every single weekday morning, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time on weekdays for free accountability and coaching. Strategies like this on how to just be a better self. Share it with somebody if you think they could benefit. Additionally, I have a course that individuals can take called the One-Page Life Plan. That thing is absolutely money. I'm so proud of that course and how it's coming along. And then lastly, I do private coaching sessions called the Competitive Advantage Challenge. That one's really hard and there's a lot of rules in it, and you got to go to bed at the same time. You got to give up booze, but I'm going to push you to the limit. And I think it's really fun to do that for 6-week spurts. So if that's something that sounds fun to you, reach out to me. And then those are the other 2 services that I have. So cheers, friends. That's all I have for today. And in case you needed to hear it, I love you. You're a badass. You got this. Let's take advantage of the day. Don't waste it. And have a great one. I'll catch you guys at the next morning show, live 8 a.m. Friday morning with episode 338. See you guys tomorrow. Catch you later.